Today I want to talk a bit about why I'm doing what I'm doing. It has to do, of course, with all my life. And actually, I didn't think about becoming a psychotherapist or a psychologist at all. That might be surprising when you hear about my story later on. But actually, it was a friend who said, "You will be a good psychologist or a psychotherapist." The German situation is the reason why I haven't become a psychotherapist, and I'm still a psychologist. But I always wanted to become a coach, and that's what I am, and I am a counsellor as well. But let me come back to, so to say, me life. Stressful situations. I suppose everybody knows them. Do you know them from nearly birth? I do. When I was 7 months old, my father dropped me with a pram. It just turned over and I banged with my head on the stair or pedestrian, whatever. So, and I didn't move anymore. So he thought I was dead. Of course, the ambulance was run and everything. And it turned out I had a skull broken, or a broken skull. So it's all healed again and it's all fine. But it was in the 60s, 1966 to be precise. What was it like then? Parents weren't allowed to visit their children. It wasn't that the mum stayed with the kid or the baby. The baby was in the room and the mother wasn't allowed to see her or him. And that was the case with me as well. So my mother visited me, stood in front of a window and watched me. And there she observed something she wrote down later. Of course, I had a toy. I know of one. And I can't really remember it. Funny, isn't it? So, but my toy fell to my feet. And my mum was already worried. I'm not getting back my little toy. Well, Gudrun thought, why do I have some feet and some toes? So toes are to be gripping. So I gripped my little toy, brought it to my hands, and there it was again, and I could play again. And my mum was standing there fascinating how a little girl managed that situation. That was, so to say, one situation where I was quite left alone and I had to cope. I had to find strategies not to be crying all the time, so to say. I suppose nobody would have come because the nurses had something else to do. So that is just to give you an idea when, so to say, the stress and the unexpected situations happened. The next thing was really, and it was really stressful, was my mum was an alcoholic and she admitted or tried to admit suicide. So that was when I was 9 and I had to organise everything. She had drunken alcohol as usual, and I don't know whether you know it, it's a pesticide called E506. I think it's not 605, but one of these numbers anyway. So what I had to do was to fight against her because she didn't want me to go into their sleeping room. But I had to get in there because I knew something was wrong. I sensed it. And I won the fight. So immediately I saw what was going on. I went out, got my brother. Well, we had to leave her quite on her own. And our father told us, don't call the ambulance. They will not trust you because you're a little kid. So what we did, we called our neighbours. They were actually involved in the whole situation, so they knew all about it. And what happened was they didn't pick up the phone. Everything you need in this situation really happened. So my brother ran into the garden. I looked after our mother, which kept going down and up and down the stairs, which wasn't really helpful because I was always afraid, is she dropping down the stairs? Well, she came to rest on top of the stairs, so everything was fine. The next thing I did wrong, I didn't put my fingers into her mouth because I didn't know. So the neighbour called the ambulance. The ambulance drivers came. And of course, as I say, she was upstairs. And these ambulance drivers said, oh gosh, do we have to go up there? To be honest, I could have kicked their butt to get them up there as fast as they can. Well, of course, I couldn't. But they had to get her, of course, from upstairs. So they picked her up, put her in the ambulance and drove off. So now my brother and I were on our own, but our neighbour came over and said, come over, and we played games just to distract us. Well, the next situation is, I know our father can be there in an hour if he would have dropped everything. It took him 2 hours and it made me really angry because he didn't react as fast as I expected him. Because, of course, we're his children. We should have been the most important people in the life besides his wife. Okay, never mind. We managed that. She was fighting for her life a whole week. And what happened is our father became quiet. Well, I could say something is definitely wrong, you can tell. But he didn't talk to me. And I got angry because I thought, why are you not talking to me? I was the one who saved her. Even though I'm a kid, I know what's going on. Stop pretending everything is fine. So I think at day 3, he started to talk. And well, the trouble was, because she took this nerve poison, nobody knew whether she would be healthy again or whether there will be damage for the rest of her life. Luckily, she became healthy again. Well, when she was out of the worst, she had a 3-month psychiatry stay, and after that things improved. But the relationship between my mum and me never got really good anymore. But I think understandably. So how did I cope with it, with the whole situation, with the alcoholic situation, with this? Well, partly I just was able to accept it because there was not much I could do when she's fighting her life. So I just had to go on with my life. We went to school as normal, so there was nothing really special. We weren't kept at home or anything. We just had our routine and that went on. That might be really a good hint for you as well. So the next thing which happened, or which I want to mention, is holidays. Holidays were always great, and we were up to 5 times a year on a holiday, in between even on weekends. So that was relaxing, that was calming down, and I didn't have the responsibility because I had the responsibility for my brother as well. But that was gone then, and that was quite nice for me, so I could relax. So a thing you can learn from that is really take time off. And of course, I wouldn't only do it on holidays, but I would do it all the time, every day. Concerning stressful situation, what it also was chronic stress. And that made it a bit difficult for me, because every time I came home, I didn't know what the situation was like when she had drunken. Was she fallen down the stairs? Did the house burn because she left the oven on, or etc., etc. So, and as a kid or a child, you can't run out of this situation. So I just had to cope with it. So practice really coping stressful situations. That is definitely an advice. And going into hectic, starting to act like wild, it doesn't help. The calmer you are, the more you have an overview of the situation. And when she attempted to commit suicide, I had to have a clear head. Otherwise, it would have been a mess and a chaotic situation. Of course, I suppose partly it was. But I had to think what's best now. Even though I couldn't know everything, as I told you, and I had to go through it in a very tough way. I can only say, try to stay calm, take a deep breath, and think, what can you do? And try not to be in the tunnel too much. So that is why I am doing what I do. And perhaps something else for all those who don't know, the last, nearly 1.5 years, it's now 2 months ago, I've been in and out of hospital because of cancer and a clostridium, I hope it is right, which brought me in and out, and I had diarrhea, nearly half a year, which was really tough as well. But what did the nurses say, and I didn't understand it because I had to ask a nurse, is they told me I'm taking it totally different to other people. And I said, what am I doing differently? And they said, we don't really know, but you are taking it differently. You are not. What I understood is they give it names. They give the cancer a name, and I thought, that's a strange idea, to be honest. I thought, no, I'm not. My cancer is my cancer, and I wanted to go, and I wanted to look positive into the future, and that's what I did. And I'm really grateful I have a full remission. So that was a totally different experience from what I had as a child, but it was a stressful situation as well. Another one is being self-employed is always some kind of stress, more or less. It can be a bit more less, or it can be a little bit more, especially when you don't earn enough. So there are quite a few situations in life, very different ones I've gone through, and that's really why I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's why I'm really focusing on stress, because reducing your stress is, for me, the most important thing you can do, because doctors are saying a lot of illnesses come from stress. As I had lymphoma, I'm not quite sure whether it's really stress in my case. It could be actually genetics as well, and my brother has got cancer right now, so it seems to be something genetic with us, and there might be another thing in the childhood that might have caused it with my brother. I don't know, but there might be an extent of stress in it as well, because I was working really hard, travelling Germany nearly every weekend and in between the weeks as well. So that might be one part, but with lymphoma, I think there is a genetic part or something else as well. So now you know why I'm doing what I'm doing, and yeah, I hope you are looking and watching my videos in the future, and perhaps if you've got stress, why don't you contact me? Get in contact with me. I'm here. I am really willing to help you. I can be a bit tough and I can be straightforward, but it is really to help you and to push you a bit, to make sure you are coping with your situation.